So, ladies and gentlemen, Brazil and Switzerland welcome the unanimous adoption of Resolution 2672 by the Council this morning. This decision extends the authorization for the UN-led cross-border humanitarian aid operation into Syria. Today, the Security Council stood united behind the imperative to address humanitarian needs in Syria. It has responded to the UN agencies and their partners and to their consistent appeal to the international community to keep the cross-border mechanism operational. This is particularly urgent in the midst of harsh winter conditions and an evolving cholera outbreak. The humanitarian situation in Syria continues to deteriorate. In order to meet the growing humanitarian needs and to protect civilians, rapid, unimpeded, and sustainable humanitarian access across Syria is needed to deliver more life-saving humanitarian assistance, as well as increased early recovery projects. The cross-border mechanism remains the only viable option to deliver aid to date, as it is the most effective means of assistance for millions of people in northwest Syria. We sincerely thank our predecessors, Ireland and Norway. Their persistent engagement as co-pen holders over the past months and up to the very last days of 2022 have guided the Council on a steady path to this adoption. Thank you very, very much. Along with Brazil, we will carry forward this work with equal dedication, and we will continue engaging with all Council members to serve the Syrian people in need. I thank you.
Good morning to all. And along with Switzerland, Brazil reiterates its thanks to all members of the Council for their constructive engagement and sense of duty in working with us toward the adoption of such a crucial resolution for the Syrian humanitarian file. We also thank the previous co-pen holders, Ireland and Norway, for their tireless dedication and effective leadership over the past 2 years. Resolution 2672 confirms the UN-led humanitarian cross-border mechanism for an additional 6 months, as anticipated in Resolution 2642. Furthermore, the Secretary General will provide a special report on humanitarian needs in Syria in June, which will inform the discussions on the cross-border mechanism. This timely adoption for the continued authorization of this mechanism is a significant signal to the UN and all humanitarian actors working on the ground. Our humanitarian objectives as pen holders are clear. Humanitarian assistance must reach all people in need in Syria through cross-border and cross-line operations, as well as early recovery projects, which are essential to allow the Syrian people to become more self-reliant and less dependent on humanitarian assistance. We look forward to a productive year ahead, which now begins with the maintenance of life-saving humanitarian aid to the Syrian people, including through the cross-border mechanism. I thank you, and we will not be taking questions on the Syrian humanitarian file.
Ambassador, given the animosity that we've seen among Council members since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, what does this agreement among Council members say, if anything, about relations on the Council, and how much of a fight are you expecting in July?
I says we're not taking questions on this. We have just taken over the file. We are very happy, as I said, on the Council unity on this matter, and the future we will deal with when we get to it.
Another question then, if I may. Given what happened in Brazil on the weekend, former President Bolsonaro is still in Florida. Is he in the US on an A1 visa, and does Brazil expect the US to revoke that visa?
I would be guessing if I told you exactly what visa he's under. I have not dealt with his visa situation here at the UN. I just would like to say is that the government repudiates in the strongest possible terms the violence committed yesterday against executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches of government in Brasilia. And we are grateful to the messages of support and solidarity we have received from around the world, including from Secretary General Antonio Guterres. We are confident that the strength of Brazilian institutions will allow us to overcome these violent and lamentable incidents of yesterday and allow us to move forward within the strength of our democratic institutions. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ambassador.